Hello, people. How are you? Thank you for joining Geekle Android Summit. I'm so excited to be here. Last year, I attended Geekle as an attendee, but this is so much exciting to be actually speaking here. So, thank you for the whole Geekle team for having me here. So, I'm currently speaking from Karachi, Pakistan, and today I'm going to talk about animations, specifically in Jetpack Compose. I know that Jetpack Compose is a very interesting and exciting topic these days among the Android developers, and not only Android, but now web and iOS folks are also catching up and doing the amazing stuff with Kotlin multi-platform as Carlos Mota and Aliazar just shared before my talk. So it may have given you some context on how much Jetpack Compose is. So when I started experimenting with Jetpack Compose, my first instinct was that can I make games with it? Uh, Ideally, Jetpack Compose is a simple UI toolkit, and that's how it has been since the start of the creation of it. But my major concern as a game developer and as a animation lover was that would I be able to make games in it, especially when I saw that there has been some very fantastic canvas APIs and animations and stuff with that. So with that motivation, I started experimenting with it, and I managed to create a simple Dino game with it, and I also created some animations with it, like the menu one you can see here, and there was this whole kind of trend on Twitter to share different animations created with Jetpack Compose. Uh, on almost every day or on every week. So there have been some amazing animation from people like Alex and then Gurpreet Singh, who is in Google these days. He actually created a simple repository with called as Compose Cookbook. There is a ton of stuff in that if you are into the Jetpack Compose and want to learn more about it. So uh, today's topic is I'm not going to explore everything about Jetpack Compose animations, but I'm going to cover five APIs which will give you a pretty good idea on how to get started with animations in Jetpack Compose and what kind of features and facilities it can provide you as compared to traditional XML approach. So these are the five APIs which we are going to focus for now. The first one is that animate content size, and then we have animated visibility, and then we will see how we can create simple single animations, and then we see that how we can create repeating animations, and finally we are going to make use of transitions to make some complex animations which may be a little bit hard to create with above APIs. So let's start with the first one. So animate content size is the most easiest one and the most simplest one in terms of its feature set and also its complexity. So we have often seen in UI component where we are going through LinkedIn or any Facebook or any social media application, and then there is some text, and we'll see that there is a button read more, and when we click it, it just expands it. So this is where this animate content size comes in. So for example, in this example, we have short text and long text. So we are focusing with the blue button. It says click me, and then when this click, then it expands to another long video. So Now, how we are going to create that? That first we have to maintain the state that whether button is short or long. So I am creating a simple mutable state and flipping it on clicking of the button. So this will tell that whether it's short or long, and then I'm assigning uh, that text to the actual text composable. Now, if I add this modifier, animate content size, then voila, it's like you are actually animating it from one state to other state. If I don't add this modifier, then it will just change instantly from click me into the longer state, and there will be no transition, there will be no animation, and so all you have to do is like add this content. So whenever there is like content changes, whether it's an image, whether it's in any complex UI component, or it's in any checkbox, radio buttons, or multiple composables combining together at the same time, no matter what it is, it will just automatically try to animate your content size from the source state to the target state, and it will automatically provide you a very smooth UX effect. And not only that, you can actually add more customizations with it. So for example, we have another example of changing the aspect ratio of, let's say, some image from portrait to landscape. So I have applied the same approach as I did on the click of it. So we were using animate content side before, but now actually we can provide more customizations with it. For example, we can provide that what kind of tween it should be and what kind of easing it should be. So for example, I am setting 500 milliseconds of duration, and I am saying that it's a linear tween, linear easing. We can also provide more easing animations like fast and slow out, or slow and fast out, and those sort of, or maybe spring, or maybe bounce, or maybe I can create my own custom, let's say, some sound wave kind of transition animation spec, and provide that as well. So it's completely customizable, and then I can also get callback to when the animation exactly finished. So we can get it through end listener. So that is also going to come very handy, especially when you are messing around with stairs and also animating it. So that was the first one. Now we will see the animated visibility. So visibility is more like, in terms of animation, is more like animate content size. The only difference is that it's actually not for the changes in the content, rather than it's about the changes in the visibility. So for example, we have seen this kind of floating button often in the applications on Google Play, that when you are going to scroll, then the text becomes invisible and only icon remains, and when you are scrolling up, then text comes back and to show you that what the floating button is going to do. So for example, if we want to create that similar effect in Jetpack Compose, we would be doing it with animated visibility. So animated visibility is an experimental API, so I have to add this opt-in uh, mm, opt-in annotation, and then we have a simple floating button. Inside that we have icon and text, and I am changing the state on the click just for sake of the demo. So now the only difference I have done is that usually for icon and text button, I create a row and add icon and text inside it. But now I am wrapping the text with the animated visibility, and providing text inside it. Instead of directly putting inside a row, I am actually putting it inside the animated visibility composable, and then animated visibility composable going into the row. So animated visibility composable will tell that what's inside that composable is going to be animated, whether hidden or visible, based on the parameter you provide. So I am passing the value and I am flipping that value on clicking up the demo. But you can just provide any kind of value, true, false, and where it comes from, it doesn't matter. So so that is the only change here we have done, which, where we may not have done typically when we had a simple icon plus text floating button. So now this will make sure that whatever inside it, which is in our case is a text, it will actually animate uh, to either visible or hidden, and it will not instantly hide away. So, and like animate content side, we can actually customize it as well. So we can provide inter transition, that how when the component is going to be visible, how exactly it should come. So we can see here in the inter, the text is coming from right side, and we have set the initial offset of 300. So that means that it will be far away 300 pixel from the original position it has been to. And we are also providing animation spec, which, like I said previously, that we can create our own and provide trains and easings and whatever. So I am just setting that duration to be 2000, and by default it's a linear easing. So and similarly we can also create an exit tween, that inside the bottom picture we can see that there is enter and exit both. So when the text is going to be visible, it's coming from right side, and when the text is going to be hidden, it's going down, because I have set the target offset y of 100. So 100 down is the positive, and the up is negative. So it's behaving that way. So you can actually create very fun stuff with that. So for example, I created this simple bottom navigation menu with animated visibility. The idea was that whatever option is selected, uh, that option text will be visible, and all other options text will be invisible. So I have just wrapped the text of every component inside the animated visibility, and controlled on that selected index, that what is the selected index, and comparing it with my current index. And so I can choose any option, and it will get me the selected index, and it will automatically show the text. And if I select any other option, then both animations will play together. One will be the text will be hidden, and in other text will be selected. So it's very easy if you think about it. So you can also use animated visibility with dynamic data, like using recycler views, which in Jetpack Compose is equivalent of lazy row or lazy column. So you can also use animated visibility animations in lazy row, lazy columns as well, just like you would do in any static composable. So it's very simple, but it brings a very cool effect in the application for micro transitions. So So now we are going to use Animate Star. So Animate Star is like more like fire and forget methods. So what I mean by fire and forget animations is like when you are liking some tweet on Twitter, then there is a small animation of heart uh, becoming big and colorful. So you don't want to track that animation, like how much animation has completed, and whether you want to cancel that animation or pause that animation or stop that animation. You don't want to mess around with the animation. Instead you just want to fire and forget. So if user has pressed the like button on the Twitter, then it's done. Now nothing is going to happen, and animation will play anyway, and it will be finished. So uh, that's the case where animate star as methods usually comes in. So star is star is replaced by different types Jetpack Compose provides. So you have methods like animate color, animate DP, animate float, integer, animate offset, rect, value, and there are a bunch of methods which are used. So whatever you want to animate, whether it's a color, whether it's a size, whether it's a DP value, you can just call that kind of method, and you can easily create animation. So let's see an example. So we have two buttons here. First is it changes the color, and the other one is changes the color and size. So we are going to see that how color and size demo works here. So we have a simple button with a text, and I am changing the state on the color, and we usually provide the colors like this. Uh, Button default or button colors and background color. Inside here I am using the specific color. Now this can be blue or this can be purple. So usually I provide it like this. If button is enabled, then make it blue, otherwise make it green. But instead of providing this statement, I am using a delegate animate color as a state and saying that if it's enabled, make it blue, otherwise green. And this gives me the same type because this is animate color method. So this is returning me a color, and now I use this color just like normally any color I would use. The only difference is that there will be a smooth transition from blue to green instead of directly snapping between blue and green. So it's very easy. It's just like normal thing you use. It just gives this method is responsible for giving you the values from blue to green over the time, all the values, and all those values will be reflected and recomposed on this specific composable, and you are witnessing this very smooth fantastic animation with a single line. So I can use the width and height like that. Usually we provide height and width just like a normal DP, but again this time I'm not providing the 40 or 60 DPs directly. Instead, I am calling a method animate DP as a state, and this gives me a transitive value from 40 to 60 or 150 to 300 over the time, and mm, this composable is going to be recomposed on every changed value, and we are seeing a fantastic scale animation here as well. So if we are talking about this to make it more complex, then let's say that we are creating a simple gender selector here, male and female. So we have a state which tells that whether male is selected or female is selected, and then we are using the values. We have two images. First is of image male and other is of female, and we are using the values for the preferred size and border and color. So you can see that whenever anyone is selected, its size is increased, and also there comes a border around it. So we are using animate DP as a state directly inside the composable parameters. So I am saying that preferred size is if female is selected, make it 100, otherwise 250. And for the border, I'm saying that borders initial value 0 if selected, make it 4. And also I'm saying that initial border colors is transparent, and when uh, the male is selected, then make a red border. So now Jetpack Compose will handle all those transitive values over the time, and will recompose it every on every frame, and will show you a simple animation. And the reverse values of these are passed in the other image, where uh, here we have 100 to 250, then in that we have 250 to 100, so completely opposite values are passed. And so if male is increasing, then female is decreasing in size. So this is how this whole coordinated animation is performing. So you can use these examples. For example, I created this menu, circular menu with that. So idea was that all the five buttons around it are actually centered and invisible and transparent. And when the menu is selected, then I am calculating the angles of I am calculating the angles depending on how much buttons I have. And then we have sine theta cos theta methods, and I am calculating the x and y of that button, and I am moving those buttons to those x and y using this animate dp as state methods. And this is how this animation is performing whole. I will provide you the code of this animation as well at end of this presentation. So now, we saw that how we can create effects which we don't want to interrupt with, or we don't want to cancel, or we don't want to stop. Uh, what about if we have cases where we want to actually control the animation? Then that's where we have this animatable comes in. So, for example, very simple example is that we have an animatable, and I am saying that its initial value is 1, and its initial color is red. So we are provided with two states, anime scale and anim color. Now I am creating launch effect. Launch effect is like a coroutine effect, which more like side effect, which actually it starts when this jetpack, this composable comes in the life cycle. So whenever this composable comes on the screen in the life cycle, this effect is going to be started right away. And inside that, we are saying that okay, as soon as this comes in the screen, just run the application, run the animation. So I'm saying that anim scale to animate to. Now I'm providing that what is the target stage. So I'm saying make it double, and I'm saying that what kind of animation spec we can provide here. So this is a similar animation spec we saw in previously, and I am saying that infinite repeatable. Infinite repeatable is like this will be running non-stop until when actually the whole composable is in the life cycle. And I'm saying that again, what kind of tween we are using, and how much duration it has, and how much delay it has. So delay is like this is an infinite animation, so on every iteration there will be a delay, and then there will be next iteration of that animation. So and then we have repeat mode. Repeat mode is like if animation finishes and now we are going to repeat it again, what's going to happen? Now the demo image does not reflect that. Demo image reflects repeat mode dot none, but we are passing here repeat mode reverse. So the actual animation of this effect will be that heart is coming, going to be big, and then it's going to be small, big, small. So it will not be like the instant snappable effect like we are seeing here. Rather than it will be a smooth big small animation. And similarly the color is being tweaked as well. So now we have only seen that what is the initial state of animation and what is the target state of animation and how animation is going to be changed. But we have not used these animations in our hard composable. So this is where this comes in. So we have an image. So in that I am saying that okay, multiply the scale with 40 dp and see. So initially it will be 40, and at the end it will be 80 because we are multiplying it with 2. So and color is like being used like the same way that nm color dot value. So this is changing the color from red to purple, in red to blue in that sense. So basically, animatable is going to give you a value. The only difference between anim star and animatable here is that anim stars are you know uh, animated instantly. Animatable is in a more like control. So you want to play the animation when some button is pressed, or then some specific action happens. Then that's where you are going to call this animate method. And not only that, you can actually change the target state dynamically. Like user says, I want to make the heart 3 times bigger. So you pass that value here instead of some static value. So animatable is more suitable for those sort of concepts. Also, there is another concept which I am going to explore here. It's about canvas. So canvas, if we look at canvas inside Jetpack Compose, it's more like empty space. The only difference is that it's calling draw method, and that is actually modified or draw behind. So you can actually call draw behind on anything. For example, you can actually call draw behind on any text or any button, and it will give you access to the actual canvas where that button is drawn, and you can mess around with it more, and add some more stuff. It's more like creating custom views without creating custom views. So it's very powerful. So for example, we are going to see a simple example here, that canvas example, inside the we are passing draw scope dot extension methods here. So you can't use any composable here. Rather than you have to create extension methods of draw scope. So for example, we have bunch of methods already, like draw rectangle, draw over lines and circles and paths and whatnot, and then you can create your own. So you say that you want to create an heart, so you call draw scope dot draw my heart button, and those kind of methods, and you just do mathematics inside that and see that how you are going to create actual shape. So for example, this is a simple canvas, and I'm saying that okay, draw a circle red with 300 radius, draw a circle green with 200, and draw a circle blue with 100, and this will give me target circle like this. So I can create more fun stuff with it, like draw rectangles and draw arrows. I can create whole clock with it, and animate on every minute and every second the hands of the clock. So for example, we are going to animate a simple square from point A to point B. So we have animatable with zero value. This is responsible for animating position X, and we are saying that whenever this composable comes in, just animate it to 500, and this is an infinite transition, and there is no reverse mode, there is no delay, so this is going continuously. And we have this canvas, and now I'm usually, what I do is that I just pass a draw rectangle as we see in the previous screens. But this time, if I call only draw rectangle, then there will be no animation. Canvas will draw it on the 0 point. So instead, I'm calling a method with transform, and there are three transforms: rotation, translation, and scale. So I'm saying that okay, translate from left, and I'm passing the animatables value. So now, whenever this moving square comes into the life cycle, then it says that square have to move from 0 to 500, and animatable is providing the values from 0 to 500 on every iteration. So that value is being used to translate the whole canvas, and you can see the square moving around the space. This is the same concept I used in creating this whole uh, game about dinosaur in T-Rex, and these animations are using the same approach. It's all about mathematics and drawing. So at what point you want to draw what, and how much it should be calculated, and how much value it should be. So it's all about that. So you have a blank canvas, and you have all these mathematical functions and drawing methods, and voila, you can do wonders with that. So finally, we are utilizing transition. So transition is like more complex animations with multiple layers around the place and to see. So for example, we are going to explore a simple example of expanding floating button. So usually we use a scaffold, and inside that we use the floating action buttons and provide a simple exporting function button composable. So but this time I want to create this exploding. So I have created my own composable called as exploding 5 button. Now we are going to see that what that method does. So we have this exploding 5 button. Now if I want to create a transition, so I have to provide states, that what are the states of the transition. It should not be 2, it can be 3, it can be 100, it can be 200, however you can manage. So let's start from 2. So we have normal and we have exploded. These are the two states. So first is that I want to use this fab size state as a mutable state, and say that initial state is normal. Now I want to transition it to the expanding, exploding. So for that, I have to create a transition object of that enum fab size state. So we have two methods. One is update transition and other is infinite transition. Update transition is like one-time transition which you want to play at any time, and infinite transition is like okay, just start and forget about it. So we are going to control the whole transition. So I am using update transition. Now I'm passing the actual state value inside that, which is the normal at this point. So now what I do is that I can assign whatever kind of values I can actually animate inside this transition directly. So for example, we are handling two things: number one, fab size, and number two, fab color. So you can see that button is actually changing the color, not here but inside the actual demo. So let's see. So I can what I'm doing here is that fab transition dot animate float. So I have other methods like animate color, animate dp, animate value, just like we have in animate star methods. And now I'm telling that what float I am going to animate, and what it is going to represent. So for example, I am saying that when it's normal, then make it 80, and when it's exploded, make it 5000. And similarly, I am also calling animate color, and I'm saying that when it's normal, make it secondary, and when it's exploded, make it primary. Now we have two values, fab size and fab color. These are the two values which will be actually animated over the time in the transition. Fab size will be going to happen 80 to 5000 and back to 80, and color is going to be primary to secondary and back to primary. So now I can use these values inside my floating button composable, just like normal color and size values are usually used. So So we had this transition, and we had these fab size and fab colors from the previous slide, and now we have this floating button with icon inside it. Now only I am changing the state from normal to exploding for the sake of demo. So as I said that I can use this fab size just like a normal size value. So I'm saying that modify the size is fab size ITP, and again fab color is more like again background color is fab color. So this will actually change from primary to secondary, and when I finish it, then it will come back to from secondary to primary. So it's like that. But now you might be wondering that I can do the same stuff with animate star as animate star method by providing two fab size and fab colors and changing this. So why do I need transitions? So transitions are like more complex methods. So for example, we saw in previous slides that we are providing that when it's normal, make it 80, and when it's exploded, make it 5,000. What about the between interval of that? What exactly is happening from 80 to 5,000? Can I control that? So with transitions, you can. So we saw animate float and we passed like when it's normal or exploded, we pass values, but we can actually provide the specs, transition spec, and we can say that when normal is transitioning to exploded, or when exploded is transitioning to normal. And if I have more states like state A, state B, state C, so I have like 20 states, then I can actually create very interesting effect that what happens when I'm coming from state A to state D, what happens when I'm coming from state C to step B. So I can actually control that with very micro kind of power. So we can see we can use normal twins or keyframes and say that okay, there will be a fast out is slowing twin, or there will be 1000 milliseconds of duration, or there will be some more. And if you want to use keyframe, then you are actually telling that at 0 seconds it should be 80, at 200 milliseconds it should be 35, and at 1000 it should be 5000. So you are seeing that at 0 it is 80, and at 200 is 35, and then at 1000 is 5000. So it's like you are creating push effect, make the button smaller first and then suddenly expanding it. So you can actually provide those sort of effects as well. So this is the result of this transition. You can actually create more transitions with that as well. So, for example, Ray Wendelich website have this very fantastic article on that how you can create this amazing button inside that, and then we have also I had a library called as flip view, so I can also create a similar flip view with that. So now I have also changed that library inside the composable called as a flippable, and so you can create the flip effects very easily. And I use the same concepts of using transitions with that. One other thing which brings more power to animation transitions over actually animate star methods is that Android Studio provides a very fantastic support of that. So we have Android Studio here, and so Android Studio provides you a very interactive animation controller for that. So for example, when I'm in the preview here, then I can actually see the all transitions, like whatever I have created parameters, like I have created width for the transition.dp, and then I have created the rounded corner, and then I have created the background color. So it will show you all the here that this is width, this is corner, this is background color, this is another background color. Then we have text colors, and so this is actually a whole controllable animation preview, uh, which will show you that how your animation is coming along inside the Android Studio. You can actually mess around with states. So for the rev intelligence button, we have two states, idle and press. So similarly, in the floating button, we had normal and expanded. So we can actually very simple in the simple way we can mess around with it and see that how the actual animation is happening. This is the final thing that there is a very simple interesting flow chart on developers.android.com, which tells you that which animation API to use. So if we look at it in the simple words, that we have starting, and then we are seeing that whether it's a content size, so content change. So content change can be either disappearance or appearance, then animated visibility, and it's not appearance or disappearance, it's just some different change. Then we are seeing that whether we are actually creating, putting more content, or we are actually messing around with same content. If it's same content, then it's animate content size, and if we are putting more content, then we have animated content or crossfit. I have not covered these in this slide, so you can explore these on your own. So again, back to the point that if it's not change in content, then we are seeing that whether it's a state-based animation or not. If it's a state-based, then I'm seeing that whether it's a infinite transition. If it's infinite, then we are using infinite transition. If it's not infinite, then I'm saying that do I have multiple values to animate, or do I have single thing? If I have single, if I have multiple and whole bunch of stuff, like I have border, I have color, I have size, then update transition is going to be the best friend. And if I have like one or two values, I don't have to coordinate with each other, then we are using animate star as a method for those kind of animation. And if it's not a state based animation, it's like more like okay, I'm just going to fire and forget this, then I have one question that do I need a control, and do I need a exact control on when animation should be started or ended? Then obviously we are going to use animatable. And if it's not about control, then it's a simple fire and forget animation, and just use the animate state or animated star as methods. So it's like that. You can create same animations with different approaches in Jetpack Compose. It's all a matter of choice for you. These are some resources. There are Jetpack Compose pathways, and Joe Batch is writing about group precincts repositories, all about very fantastic demos. And the whole demo of this slide and this animations, every animation you saw here is available on this repository. So I'm very active on Twitter, so follow me on that, and thank you for listening.